Oh, I think we're in. Oh, bro, I think we're freaking. No way. No way this is happening. No way this is freaking happening. Two-step identification. Check your iPhone. Confirm whether it's you. Yep, that's me. I'm the guy. Okay. So we're live here. Connect your encoder. All right. So I think we're at a place where we are live. Once I ultra low stream latency. Stream latency is the delay between. Does not support closed captions in 4K resolution. Low latency. Start sending us stream health. Hey. Start sending us. Oh, am I live? I might be YouTube live right now. I don't actually know. Let me see. I'm live, apparently. I don't even know if anyone's. Oh, tough. Okay. Am I live? Oh, frick. I'm live. I didn't realize that was the case. All right. That's hilarious. Oops. All right, we'll deal with that later. Well, guys, I didn't know I was live, but here we go. Oh, I didn't realize when I pressed stream on OBS, it was going to stream on YouTube. But that's exactly what happened. So, guys, this is it. This is the time. This is the moment that I've been waiting for, that I've been wanting to do, wanting to pursue for the last 6 months now. It's been 6 months that I've been on this journey of saying, you know what? I wonder what it would be like to start creating content. Not only start creating content, but start going live and start expressing myself in a live setting. Because, you know, like, so much of content is curated. So much of content is, I plan this video out, I script this video, I sit down, I put my camera up and stuff like that. But this is just like raw. I'm here. Like, if I mess up, it's live. There's somebody, I don't even know if anyone's watching right now. I can't see any analytics. I got to figure this out. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're here and we're freaking doing it. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what this journey has been already, and what this journey will be, because this journey is just beginning. And I think it's so interesting how when you desire to start something, that is the beginning of it. And it might not be the beginning of it publicly, but that is the beginning of it. So I've been on this journey since August of 2025. But this is the first time that you guys are seeing me in a live setting on YouTube Live where I have decided to go public, where this is not a private stream. This is not a private live stream. This is a public live stream. There could be people watching right now that I don't even know, especially because I don't know what I'm doing and I can't see any analytics. But I am so excited for whatever the Lord is doing in this journey. I actually kind of like the fact that I don't know if anyone's watching, because then I don't focus on it. I'm just kind of talking, and I'm looking at the camera here. I'm looking at the screen here. I got some stuff here, but I just want every single one of you that is watching now or will watch later, how grateful I am that you would take time out of your night or out of your day to listen to what this fool has to say. I feel like I've been on this journey where the Lord has taught me such an incredible amount, especially since August of 2025. And I feel like I got my inner child back, to be completely honest. Like, I was just at a conference with a bunch of teenagers. It's like a summer camp conference, and everyone's dancing in the front, and all the people I'm with are just kind of sitting around on their phones. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go up in the front and I'm just going to dance. And so I started going up and dancing. And so I just am incredibly grateful for what the Lord has done in my life up to this point. And so thank you so much for taking time out of your night or out of your day to listen to what I have to say, because I am so excited to speak up, and I'm so excited to express myself in such a way where I get to share with the world what the Lord is putting on my heart to share. I will not be known as the kind of person, I cannot be known as the kind of person who did not speak up for what he believed in. There is so much pressure to not speak up for what you believe in. And I fell into that trap for a couple years. I fell into the trap of thinking that it would just be better if I didn't rock the boat. But the reality is, it's never better when you don't rock the boat, when you feel called by God to rock the boat. Now, obviously, you don't always. There's a time and a place to speak up. And this is why I've created a platform like this, to create a time and a space to speak up. But to know that there's something that you need to say in the world and then you not say it, that is so wrong. There's a Bible verse, Proverbs chapter 3, maybe verse 17. Could be wrong on this, but it says that there is a verse in Proverbs, though, that says, or maybe it's in James, for anyone who knows what he ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for him. And, oh man, even just saying that verse is so convicting to me, because how often in my life do I in a micro way, maybe in a macro way too, but in a micro way, compromise the small things. I know what I ought to do, or I know what I ought not to do, but I still do it, or I still don't do it because of desire, because of this broken vessel that is Chase. And I'm so grateful for a God that forgives me despite my broken desires, despite my broken heart. So let's hop into the live stream. Like I said, we kind of went live, and I didn't realize we were live for the first 5 minutes. So here we are. So don't look back at the beginning, please. But yes, this is Late Night Deep Talks as part of the Chase Goodwin Show. I started the Chase Goodwin Show at the beginning of the year. I'm 3 episodes in. My life, I'm going to talk about this journey tonight. My life has been a wild journey up to this point. This year has been a wild journey for me up to this point. And so I've only been able to put out 3 episodes for now. But I'm so excited to continue to put out more podcast episodes, as well as start doing this every single week. I don't know what time it's going to be this week. It's Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central. I probably got started early because I didn't realize I was live. But nonetheless, 8 p.m. Central on Wednesday night tonight. So super thankful for this and super excited to just output more I have some really cool guests that are lined up for the next few months. A couple social media influencers that I'm really excited to announce here very soon that I'm going to be speaking with. Some in Texas. Austin, Texas is going to be a hot spot. I think I have 4 episodes that I'm going to be that are scheduled for Austin, Texas. But yes, welcome to Late Night Deep Talks as part of the Chase Goodwin Show. I'm so incredibly glad that you are here. Your support in the projects that I have produced in the past and am producing now is, I'm incredibly grateful that you have chosen to support me, support the journey that I've been on, support the journey that I am on. This is the beginning of what feels like the rest of my life. These videos that I produce will go further if you will subscribe to my channel, if you will like this live stream. And so please just click a couple buttons for me. Click subscribe, click the like button, comment things that you want to hear from me, comment things that you want to talk about. Just leave me a comment about how you're doing. I want to know that you were here, and just thank you for your time here. I want to see our generation, the Gen Z generation and the ones adjacent, to faithfully step into pushing back darkness and establishing light in this cultural moment. The Bible says that the time and place at which God has put us has no mistake. It's no mistake that God has set Chase Goodwin to be alive in 2026. For you, it is no mistake that the Lord has set you to be alive in 2026 for such a time as this. And it is our job, it is our duty as the ones who are living today to engage the cultural moment, to push back darkness and establish light today, to speak into what is currently going on in an era of AI, in an era where the smartphone has only been around for 13 years as the first generation to be raised with the smartphone. We have a unique opportunity to push back darkness and establish light in this culture. We have a unique opportunity because of AI, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, oh my gosh. We have a unique opportunity because of AI to translate the Bible in every language on the face of the planet in our lifetime. What an opportunity that we have. This is unlike any other cultural moment, because right here, me just talking to a camera, over like millions of people could be watching this. Maybe not right now, but there is a chance that, Mr. Beast. Over 500 million people subscribe to Mr. Beast's channel. How insane is that? That means that over 500 million people at one time, if he were to go live, would be able to tune in to his live stream, be notified of his live stream, and watch what he's doing. That's insane. What an opportunity we have. What an opportunity that content creation is. It is the sort of thing that evil can and is trying to use to ruin our world. But if we have anything to say about it, if I have anything to say about it, and I promise I do, then evil is not going to take control of this. When the light comes into the room, the darkness must flee. And I genuinely believe that. And so I am choosing to push back darkness and establish light by speaking up in this cultural moment. And I want to inspire you to do the same. So, I got passionate. I want to answer some questions. I have an agenda here that I want to follow, and I'm not going to follow it at all, and that's okay. But I want to talk to you about the journey of content creation for me. Because very recently, less than a year ago, I was anti-content creation. I was anti being public. There were times when I would even, if I would see somebody have their phone out at a national park or see their phone out in any sort of setting that was public, trying to capture a moment, think about that, capture a moment, I would judge them like crazy. Because my thought was, they should be staying in the moment. They should be fully present where they are. And I still believe that people should be fully present where they are. But oh, how I've changed. Oh, how I've changed. So, when I was 19, I'm currently 25 years old. When I was 19 years old, I felt like was one of the first moments that I realized that content creation was really a thing. You know, I watched YouTube channels and stuff like that, but I never thought about it as something that the everyday man could do and the people around me could do. I was in an echo chamber growing up where no one really did that. And so going to college, like, I was like, man, I've never camped before. I've never thought about any content creation. So I started to have to build frameworks for all of these different belief systems or for all these different things that I had no idea even really existed. I was in the echo chamber of basketball, which I loved and I'm so thankful for. And if you want to hoop together and you text me and you want to hoop, I'm likely going to say yes, and I'm likely going to win. But that's just been my life is basketball. So I got introduced to camping, outdoors stuff, the fact that content creation was happening when I was 19 years old, and I quickly became very anti-content creation, very, very much anti-content creation. But I fell in love with the outdoors. I fell in love with hiking, and I always thought to myself, what if after college I bought an RV and lived in an RV and just traveled North America? I've never been out west. I was in Florida growing up and never really left Florida at all. I'm actually going to put up somebody did comment. I'm going to keep the comments up, so if you do comment on the live stream, I can see it. I just took away the other stuff. So if you do comment, I will respond. Unless you're falls in and says, okay. Okay. I'm glad you're here, falls in. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Let me get this back up. Un momento. Okay. So, I went through college, got an engineering degree, super thankful for the degree, not really using it, but I have used the degree to leverage pretty much everything that I've done up to this point. And I went to Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm still in Nashville, Tennessee. Love Nashville. But when I graduated when I graduated college with the engineering degree, I was genuinely stuck in this echo chamber of thinking that the only path forward was to use my degree, even though I was like, man, I don't want to use it. I have an engineering brain in the way of the technical understanding, but I love people. I love expressing myself, and that is just not what engineers are. And so I always felt like a fish out of water doing engineering. And that did not change when I got into the working world. I took pretty much the first offer. There were other people that offered me, but pretty much took the first offer I got because I just wanted to be wanted. I didn't know my value. I didn't understand my value, and I just wanted to be wanted. And so when a company was like, hey, we're going to take a chance on you. You got no training. You got nothing. My fan just turned on. Let me turn that off. 1 second. I have those self-timers for my fan, and so every night at 8:30-ish, my fan will turn on, and it'll turn off at 5:30. That's my alarm. But I fell into the echo chamber of thinking that I was kind of stuck in engineering. I always felt like a fish out of water in engineering, but I just wanted to be wanted, and they took a chance on me even though I had very little training. And so I was super thankful that this engineering firm took me under their wing and trained me up. It did not take long for me to feel a sense of, oh, is this the rest of my life? I sat behind a cubicle all day and designed. And that, I mean, we've been streaming for 15 minutes? I don't even know. You don't have to know Chase for long to know that Chase sitting behind a desk for the rest of his life, designing in front of a computer, not talking to people, is not the way. It's not the way. I can assure you that it's not the way for Chase Goodwin. And so, 6 months in, I was feeling it. 6 months in, I was like, this is not what I need to be doing. But I felt a sense of I'm stuck. I really felt like it's interesting to me. It's so interesting to me how post-college that there's some principality. There's some cultural pressure. There's some cultural pressure that once you get out of college and you get into a job, that's the job you need to do for the rest of your life. But that is such a lie. And maybe it makes me want to cuss. I don't want to cuss on the live stream. I don't want to cuss publicly. We'll see where we go there. But it's such a freaking lie. It's a lie that you have to stay in that job. But I genuinely was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I did not take the risk and buy the camper. I did not buy the camper when I graduated college. I was like, I need to get rid of my student loans. I need to establish myself as as an engineer in society I finally made it, that's how people made me feel. I finally made it. Such a freaking lie. But I hated it. I signed a 2-year contract, and commitment is really important to me. Commitment, the definition of commitment that I heard once that I think is, that I believe is a good way to do life, is commitment is staying true to what you said you were going to do long after the emotion in which you said it has passed. And I have spent most of my life trying to live by that mantra, that quote. I've spent most of my life trying to live by that quote. To be committed to something even after I felt like this isn't what I should be doing. This isn't what I want to be doing. Because if I've committed to it, I want to make sure that I see that through. I come from a broken family. I've seen a lot of divorce in my life, unfortunately. And I think that is where that stems from, is saying I'm not going to be the kind of person who commits and then decommits. I want to be the kind of person who sees it through despite how he feels. And I just believe that if I live my life that way, then my life will be better. And so in many ways of my life, in most, if not every way of my life, I have lived it that way. Now, that has not done well for me in some relationships. And that's kept me in some relationships that I shouldn't have been in. But it's also sustained a lot of other things. It's also grown me in ways that I'm super grateful for. I felt that in college playing basketball in the practice squad at Lipscomb. There were moments where I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this, but I told these people that I wanted to do this through the college, and I committed to doing it through college. And then, bringing it back to this job, I told this job that I would give them 2 years. And so I just believed that it was my duty to see it through those 2 years. I had some other people tell me, you're probably going to hate your job for the first 2 years. Just get through those 2 years and then you'll be fine. How interesting of a statement is that? The statement of you're going to hate it for the first 2 years, but just stay with it because after those 2 years, you'll do better. Is that true? I think that's don't cuss. I think that's a lie. I genuinely think that's a lie. And this is the first time I've said that to myself or publicly. I think it is a lie to say, oh, you're good. Everyone's going to hate their job for the first 2 years and then it's going to get better. sure, there's like learning curves that things take. And I understand the learning curve is difficult, but that doesn't mean you should hate it. And I genuinely just did not like what I was doing. So, but I said to myself, I'm going to commit to 2 years. So I signed a 2-year contract. And even though I felt like 6 months in, like this isn't what I want to do, I want to do something different. I was like, I'm going to see this contract through. But during that last year and a half, I kind of fell into that lifestyle of this mindset of you're going to hate what you do for 2 years, but get on the other side of it because then you're going to love it. And I think I just started to get pretty depressed because I thought to myself, man, this is really genuinely going to be the rest of my life. Like whenever I told people I didn't like my job, people were like, yeah, but that's like what a job is. Just a bunch of bull crap. To be completely honest, a bunch of freaking bull crap. And but I couldn't see it at the time. So I kind of gave myself to it. I became pretty unhealthy. I gained 25. I was 25 pounds heavier than I am right now. I was averaging like, there would be times I would look at my watch. I used to wear a fitness watch. I don't do that anymore because I'm just fit. I don't need a fitness watch. I'm just fit. But I would look and it would be 7 p.m. and I would have 4,000 steps or 3,500 steps in a day. And I just was like, why am I tracking my steps right now? Why am I tracking? I'm tracking so many of these different things that do not matter right now. And I should not be checking my cholesterol. All of these things that, like there's wisdom. Be careful what you put in your body. All these things. But I was so focused on figuring out how my sleep score was that it was the first thing I'd do when I woke up in the morning. Rather than think about all the things I have to do in the day and get up with passion and courage and discipline, ready to get after the day because I love what I do, the first thing I would do is look and see my sleep score and then scroll on my phone. And then go to my computer and start designing talking to nobody. No wonder I got depressed. No wonder I was depressed after 2 years of doing that. And so after these 2 years, I really, I didn't know that I had the courage or the power to decide something different. It kind of just came on me. It's always been the plan. It was always the plan to quit my job, get debt free and travel. But I felt like I was in such an echo chamber that dream was gone. That dream was forever gone. So, I had a hernia surgery that was scheduled for the same day of my 2-year anniversary at the job. And so it was okay, now I'm having surgeries. Here we go. This is the rest of my life. I'm just going to spend the rest of my life, waiting for my body to go to nothing and die eventually. What? And then I become the financial provider. Oh, what's Chase known for? Oh, Chase is the engineer. Chase is rich. Ask him for money. What are we doing? Since when did the highs of life become breakfast, lunch, and dinner? That is depressing. The person living the sort of, a little too loud. The person living the sort of life where the highlight of their day is eating, I think that person needs to really look at their life, do a deep dive looking at their life, thinking about what their purpose is, what they're spending their life doing. Because that right there is not the way to go. I understand it though. I lived it. I lived the sort of life where the highlight of my day would be lunch. Am I going to get free lunch today through work? Ooh, I got free lunch today. Let's go. Man, and then I look at myself in the mirror and I think to myself, is this really it? I'm 23 years old and my body looks like this? I was a college athlete. What am I doing? What's going on? And it's a great question for me to ask and for me to try and answer of what got me to making the final decision to quit my job and to genuinely do what I said I was going to do all these years ago. I don't know the answer to that. I think there was a moment. I wish I remember that moment. But I think there was just a moment where I said, I don't know what the outcome is going to be for this. And it feels wrong for me to do in the culture that I'm in because no one else is doing it. But I think I need to quit my job and need to travel. I think I genuinely need to do it. And every piece of advice that I got from every mentor was, Chase, you have a good job. I even had one mentor tell me, man, I talk about echo chambers and living in an echo chamber. I had one mentor tell me, they said, Chase, think about the person in Guatemala. Think about the person in these less fortunate countries that don't have the financial means to even have clean water. They would do anything to be doing what you're doing. Do you guys see what's wrong with that? I genuinely hope that you're able to see what's wrong with that. But, well, I guess in the moment I wasn't able to. But think about this. Chase, you need to continue to do what you don't like to do. You need to continue to not step into the gifts that God gave you, because somebody across the world would take your place in a heartbeat. You know what that's like? That's like telling the person, you know, the parable of the talents. It's like, you know, one person got 1 talent, one person got 5 talents, and one person got 10 talents. It's like telling the person who got 1 talent, hey, why aren't you investing 10 talents? Or it's like telling the person, this is more accurate, like telling the person who has 10 talents, why aren't you investing 1 talent? And it's like, because the Lord gave me 10. And so if I'm just going to use 10% of my life as service to the Lord, that's a tragedy. I need to invest the maximum of what the Lord gave me. I come from a childhood where I lived in extreme poverty for half of my childhood. I would live this life with this mom who, I love her and I'm so grateful for her. And we didn't have the opportunity to have our own home. And then I would spend the week with her and spend the weekend with my dad, who would go to the party beaches on the weekend and take me to it's called the Lanikai. Take me to the Lanikai and we'd hang out at the Lanikai. And I lived this back and forth life of having very, very, very little, pretty much homeless, extreme poverty, to the party beaches where there was a lot of things going on that no 5-year-old should be able to see. And God has taken me out of that and given me an engineering degree and given me the capacity to be in a place where I'm debt-free by the age of 23. I'm 25 now. Be out of debt completely by the age of 23, which is a great gift. And then I have somebody telling me, Chase, but the person in Guatemala, they would trade lives with you. I understand they would trade lives with me. And their life matters, and their life is valuable. And their life, they have a purpose that God has set them on this planet for. But that purpose is different from my purpose. And for me to say I need to stay in a job that I hate, not use the gifts that I have because somebody in Guatemala wants to trade lives with me, that is such a narrow way of thinking. And I honestly think when I was told that, it broke something in me. I think it broke something in me in the way of, I said, you know what? No more. I'm done. I will take whatever risk it takes. Whatever risk is needed, I'm doing it. I'm going to take the risk, and I am going to just go for it. And I don't know what that means, but the only thing I know that means is quit your job and get on the road. Some people might think I'm crazy for that. But that's the direction I had. That's the only direction that the Lord had given me up to that point. I had thought, like, what if I get into sales? Sales is like I get to talk to people. Content creation was nowhere to be found in my life up to this point. Nowhere to be found. I had social media, but I was not using it. And if I was using it, I was just scrolling. That is not good. And so I quit my job and I got on the road. 2 days before I got on the road. Actually, let's do this. I might cry. 8 days. So I had hernia surgery. I recovered from hernia surgery, and when I recovered from hernia surgery, I quit my job. That's what happened. Right at the tail end of recovering from my hernia surgery is when I decided to quit my job to start to travel. And I genuinely felt like I was stupid when I did it. I felt like the world had kind of fallen apart when I did it because I was super excited, but I was almost positive that in the wisdom that I had at that moment, that was the right thing to do. And I still think it's right. I still think it was the best thing I could have done ever. But I just had less understanding. Hindsight 2020. You can only see things. You can't see things in the moment because you're in the weeds. But this confirmation from the Lord kind of set me ablaze. In the last 8 days, I had already saved up enough for this trip. It was going to put me, in a tighter spot. Not a tight spot, but a tighter spot. But nonetheless, I had enough. I had plenty. In the last 8 days before I left on my trip, the Lord provided enough money in 8 days for me to live for the next 6 months. I was not given anything by anybody, but I had an independent construction project that I had won, that I had done with a friend, and the payout for work, they paid me out a couple dollars, and in the last 8 days before I left for my trip, the Lord provided all the money that I could need for my trip. And it felt like the Lord had just given me a hug and said, Chase, this is exactly what I want you to do. And so I left Nashville. I left everything I knew. I left my friends. I left my job. I left my church. I was still connected to my church, and I still had people. Like, I was still keeping in contact, but I just left and got on the road. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to go see the West. Oh. And that decision in August of 2025 has changed my life for the rest of my life. It was the greatest decision I could have ever made, because I feel like it finally freed me up to dream for the first time in my life. Ever. First time ever. There's a quote by C.S. Lewis that I love, and I'm actually going to pull this up and read it. Actually, I don't have it pulled up right now, but I'm going to get this pulled up real quick. Just give me 1 second. It is a quote about mud pies. If you guys know what this is, yeah, here we go. Quote about mud pies. This is what the quote says. C.S. Lewis is writing a book called The Weight of Glory, and he says, "It would seem that our Lord finds our desires." Here, I'm going to pull this up here so you guys can see me a little bit better. "It would seem that our Lord finds our desires not too strong, but too weak. We are half-hearted creatures fooling about with drink and sex and ambition, when infinite joy is offered us, like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum, because he cannot imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday at the sea. We are far too easily pleased. The reason I bring this up is because I believe where I was and where I believe much of our culture is, much of the people in our culture are, is that we are playing in mud pies in the sense of purpose. And we've never heard about what it was like at the holiday at the sea. We've never experienced what a holiday at the sea could be like. And so because of that, we're content to play in our mud pies. And as someone looking at this scene, what a tragedy, right? What a tragedy to watch a child be content with playing in mud pies when a holiday at the sea is offered to him. So, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. As someone who has been woken up, and it's hard for me to say because this whole woke culture, I don't agree with so much of it, but there are some that I do agree with. I want to spend the rest of my life showing people and telling people and convincing people that a holiday at the sea is offered them, and they don't have to spend the rest of their life playing in mud pies. They don't have to spend the rest of their life playing in mud pies because they can go experience a full, adventurous life of purpose, of living in the gifts that the Lord has given you. And I want to see everybody that I interact with, I want to see them step into that and step into it faithfully. I just thought about the fact that I really hope my audio is working. If my audio isn't working, I will be so sad. But I'm just going to trust that it is. So we're going to keep moving forward. And the fact that Falls In said, okay, makes me think that he could hear me. So I went on this journey. I'm going to talk more about what happened on this journey in the next stream because we're running up against time here. We only have 10 minutes max. But I am so excited to tell you the rest of the story of how I got to where I am today, because the last 10 months of my life have completely changed who I am and what I do and what I pursue. And it feels like I'm healed. And now I just want to heal other people. I feel like, not in the way of Jesus because I already have that, but in the way of purpose, I feel like I'm a beggar who was shown where the purpose was found, shown where the food was found. And now I just want to spend the rest of my life telling as many people as possible, telling you that there is more purpose than you could ever imagine on the other side of taking the risk. And I want to help you find that. And I want to do everything I can to do that for myself. So, I didn't get into anything on the agenda today. Nothing. Literally, I got through the intro. That's it. That's all I got through. I was going to talk about Charlie Kirk. We're going to talk about that next time. But man, I could literally do this for 8 hours. I've been so incredibly grateful for this. And I hope that it's helped somebody else. Before we go, I want to talk about a Bible verse. I want to start or end my live streams talking about the Bible and doing a Devo. So this is Late Night Deep Talks with the Chase Goodwin Show, and I'm so glad that you tuned in. I'm so glad that you have tuned in on week number 1. TBD on the time for next week. I don't really know. I want to get a consistent schedule, but we've got to figure that out because I'm probably not going to be in town a lot of times on Wednesday nights, so I won't have my whole setup. But the Bible verse that I want to talk about tonight, Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 24. This is what the scripture says. This is God's word. This is life. This scripture has the very words of life. And my prayer is that you and I will cling to this with our life. So this is what God says in Matthew chapter 6. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is healthy, the whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. No one can serve two masters. He will either hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. I believe that these 5 verses might be the most rich Bible verses in the whole Bible. And there's no way that I have 7 minutes. We're going to try and do this in 7 minutes. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Why? Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth. Why? Because they are passing away. The things of this earth, the things of this world are passing away. Moths, rust destroys it. Thieves break in and they can steal it. But what does it say to do? It says, lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Why? Why should we lay up for ourselves treasures in heaven? Why is God telling us, don't hope in what is on this planet, hope what is in heaven? Why is God telling this to us if he doesn't want us to have the best life now? It's because he understands that the things of this world pale in comparison with the joy on the other side of this world. Just like the mud pies. We cannot fathom what it's like I have an injured arm right now. I can't lift much right now because my left arm is really hurting. And I think I have tennis elbow. There's going to be a day when I don't understand. I can't even comprehend what it would be like to have an injured arm. I can't comprehend what it would be like to grieve. There will be no more grief. There will be no more sorrow on that side of heaven. And so God is saying, do not hope in this world, because if you will hope in this world, you will always walk away disappointed. If you will hope in this world, if you will make this world your home, you will walk away disappointed. How many of us, I don't know how old you are, I'm 25. I've seen some stuff. I've seen some grief. I've experienced some grief. I've experienced hard times. But I haven't seen nearly as much death as someone who's in their 70s. I haven't experienced the weight of your best friend dying. I've experienced the weight of a friend dying. I've experienced the weight of some of the grief of this world. I've experienced some of the hardship. But there's only more to come. There's only more to come. This world is cutthroat. This world is difficult. The temptations of this world get heavy. I feel the weight of wanting to store it for myself treasures on earth more now than I ever have before. Why? Because I have more now than I ever have before. I have a personal platform. I have a net worth. I have I have these assets that I have started to gain, not just in the material sense, but also in the sense of friendship, also in the sense of status and power. And God is saying, those things are passing away. There's going to be a day when no one remembers who Chase Goodwin is. And that can be a depressing thought if we let it. There's going to be a day that no one remembers who you are. That your name is spoken for the last time on this planet. But what Jesus is telling us here is that you do not have to have your hope in if people remember your name. Your hope does not have to be in your net worth. Your hope does not have to be in your relational status. Your hope does not have to be in how much influence or power you have. Your hope can be in something much bigger than yourself. Your hope can be in storing up treasures for yourself in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, where thieves do not break in and steal. You do not have to hope in what this world has to offer. You can hope in more. And I want you, and I want to make sure that I am spending my life hoping in something that is not going to disappoint me eventually. And I just believe that this book and what God says and what Jesus has done is that. So my plea is that you would step into it. My plea is that you would trust on Jesus, because he's worth it. The very words of life are found here. So please step into it. All right. How much? 2 minutes. So we're going to talk about the further verses next week. We'll leave it there. Guys, I am so incredibly thankful that you would spend your Wednesday evening, if you're on the live, I don't even know if you are, or you would spend whatever day you're watching this, that you would spend the time to watch, to listen to me yap. I'm a yapper, and I can yap, and I will yap for the rest of my life. And I will not be the kind of person who sinks back into a seat and doesn't speak up for what he believes in. Because I just believe that it is my duty and it is my job to speak up. So I'm going to keep speaking up, and I want you to as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe on my channel. Again, that helps so much to push out what I have to say further. That distributes what I have to say to the people that need to hear it. And so please like this, comment on this post, let me know your thoughts. I know I got pretty passionate. I'm a passionate guy. Let me know your thoughts of how this was. If you have any ideas of what this could be, or if there's any questions you have for me, happy to answer them. I will, from here on out, put a little time section in there where I'm answering the questions people have. No one asked a question today on the live, but if you ask in the comments, I will do the best I can to answer that, whether it be in a short form reel or on the live. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share this with a friend that you think needs to hear it. And I'm excited to see what God's going to do with my life and with your life. And I'm so excited to see what the Gen Z generation is going to be known for. Let's be known for lifting high the name of God rather than our own name. We can do this. It's not easy, but it is simple. All right? Love you guys. Peace out. Whew.